history here. So I figured I'd give you a little sneak peek inside the 1915. I got it apart, and there's one little thing that surprised me, so I'll give you a little show of that. Besides the oil pump, of course surprised me pretty good. But I was expecting the crank moved so beautiful in here when I took the rods off. It just spins so nice and smooth, and I was thinking, man, this thing's going to be pristine inside. And then I seen that right there. That's copper showing already on the cam bearings there too. And there's some sludge in the bottom. Like I say, my buddy let it sit outside for a little bit. Same thing right here. Got a pretty good amount of copper in there. You know, and there's a little bit of a ridge on the rear. Not really enough, maybe a thousandth of an inch or so. You can just barely catch your fingernail on it. It's just starting to do something there. But anyways, I was really blown away by how much the cam bearings have already wore out. You know, I was expecting to use, out of the minimum, I was hoping to use the cam bearings. You know, usually if on a low mileage motor, they don't take a lot of wear. But the cam, I was hoping to use it too, but I can see that the lobes are wore all the way across and they're flat. You know, when I was looking at it in the engine, you could still see the perconizing on this side, but once I got it all the way around, it's a done, you know. So I got a good gear and good bolts. It's a 120. It wasn't really. The 120s are a decent cam, but they're not the cam I like. So I got to figure out what I'm going to do. I'll probably end up wheeling and dealing with a buddy of mine. I know he's got a 1010 crank. It's stock, non-counterweighted. I don't think it's 8 dowel either. That would be just to get me going. He also has a aftermarket crank, and I see if I can get him to let loose of that or not, or I could just buy one. You know, $200 shipped to my door for a cheap 4140 crank. You know, nothing fancy. But of course, I got to buy new bearings all the way around. I need to probably buy new lifters too. I did check that just a little bit ago, and they don't seem to be having any contour to them anymore. That one actually has a little, not much, so we'll have to see. I got to take those out and play with them a little better. But the case did have the lifter boards chiffoned for the recess of the lifter. I thought that's a plus, at least, out of all that. So I was expecting to reuse probably the cam bearings, and the main bearings are pretty much garbage too. I knew the mains had probably took it out. But I called a local machine shop, to inquire about turning this crank, just seeing if I could get out cheap. And they do mostly Chevrolet, you know, American car stuff, as most machine shops are set up for, especially in this area. But then I started looking at it once I got it apart, and if you notice, there's a difference in color. This thing got hot. It got real hot. And that's weakened it pretty good, I'm pretty sure. So, and this is a cast crank, so I wouldn't trust this. I don't even know if I'd trust this for a stocker, even if I reground it. But my main thing was price. They wanted $125, they said, for a Chevy crank, and the guy that sets up the machine was out to lunch, and they couldn't give me an exact price. But I figured, you know, if it was $50 or $60, I may try and regrind it. But then once I seen how black it is, it's like, no, I ain't even going to do that. So, you know, and you know, it may not be worth their, it's not even probably worth their labor. It's going to take them a while to chuck it up, reset their machine to do that. So, you know, they probably won't want to change the price down, even though it's less journals. It's just not profitable to them, and I understand that. But I figured I'd show you what happened to that thing, and been working on that a little bit. Been working on this. I do have some video of me putting the brakes on just a little bit. I kind of got stopped there, and then we kind of had the storm, and then I got sick. So, you know, life happens. But I will tell you that I had two little small run-ins with this. One was the brake pad on the other side, and it was for this bracket here that comes out here, and it comes out there. And let me show you a picture, because I can show you a picture better. That bracket slides in these little tangs here, there and there. And I can't remember which pad these pads got a thick black coating of paint of some sort on it, and it wouldn't go all the way on. And what I had to do was just take the little file and file just right in that little groove there. And after I did that, it slid right on. The next little thing that kind of threw me for a loop is actually the picture you're looking at. And at first it says, you know, make sure that you put the outer pad as the outer and the inner pad as the inner. And at first I looked at this thing and I was like, I have no idea what they're talking, you know, what's the difference here. I'm looking at the grooves, man, those look exactly the same. Looking at the shape of the pad, man, that looks exactly the same. Kind of playing Where's Waldo, what's the difference here? And then I finally realized it. The main difference you can see is this 45-degree cut on the inner pad, and it's pretty much square on the outer pad. There's actually a little more distance here, but not enough when you got them in your hand you can see that. So if you're doing that, that's the difference, is the shape of the metal. Anyways, I figured I'd show you that. Hopefully I'll get this thing back together. Kind of hoping I can bring this thing back to Bug Jam, or bring it to Bug Jam. Never actually drove it there. That may be a little stringent of a goal there. You know, carburetors that I got for this motor don't work currently at this point. One of them's frozen up, so that may be a little bit of a lofty goal, but I'm going to try and put it back together. So thanks for checking in, and hopefully you get out there and work on your projects. If you like anything you see, don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button. Got any good comments, leave them down at the bottom. I can answer some questions every now and again. I'm not probably the fastest guy in the world with that, but I do try and get back to people. And hopefully you all have a good night.